Welcome, Options Weekly Forecast. We're looking at the best options plays that you can take with a big or a small portfolio. We had Palantir earnings today, which was interesting to say the least. The price action to me has been quite interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to get this mic fixed. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to play a game of Smash or Pass. We're going to look at the stocks and charts that you want to look at your request. As per always, I want to make sure you guys are getting the most out of this and that you're making the most money while Palantir booming into after hours after, I would argue, slightly neutral earnings report that wasn't really expected. First, we need to talk about something very quickly that I think people that trade all the time refuse to talk about, or the ones that do it well don't really have the time or care to help people through these things. I was talking to those of you that are in our options chat on Discord, and I really think that there's something that need to be discussed. We talked about what are kind of the 8 truths about trading that nobody really talks about. And I think number one, we're going to focus on one a week. And I think number one is probably of the most important, because I think it leads to the greatest losses for most traders, which leads them to quit, which means that they won't be in the game long enough to win it. And that is the statement that I need to make money now. Why? Why do you need to make money now? Most people can't answer that question because they're just so scared of not doing it that all they can think of is making more right now. And I wrote to the members, I need to make money now. The most surefire way to lose it quickly. And I don't think that could be more dialed in to the truth, because the reality is about this business in general is that trading needs to be treated like a full-time job. There's a lot of people that can generate profits on the screen, but they can't put money in the bank. If you can't turn your unrealized gains into realized profits, then you're not going to make it doing this. And my goal is to see you make it doing this. And I think you can over the long term if you follow some of these simple strategies and simple concepts that we talk about day in, day out, both on this channel and on the Discord. You know, a lot of you call me dad, and I don't take that lightly. And I think that everybody's need a little more dad in their life, a little more coach in their life. And so that's my goal, is to deliver it to you and make sure that you guys not only get it, but that you understand it. Because at the end of the day, there's a responsibility on my end to make sure that the information I'm giving you is A, good, and that B, I'm communicating in a way that you can fully understand. Because if you don't understand what it is we're doing, then you're never going to make it. And I don't want anyone to be afraid to ask questions, because that's the point of being here. I'm dedicating this hour of my time because I care, and I want to make you rich. I want you to make money doing this, because if you're not, then there's really no point in doing it. And to be fair, sometimes it does take time to do this. The first couple of years I did it, I didn't make much at all. I actually lost the first 2 years. But now, a couple grand a month in the bank every month, like clockwork. So let's figure out exactly how we're going to help you do that, because at the end of the day, that's why we're here. So welcome to you all that are here. I know a bunch of you are from the Discord. As always, I always ask, and I will always expect. Let me know in the chat. If you're new here, type new. We will be giving away some free stuff. If you've been with us before and you're in the Discord already, just type your Discord username so I can put a name to the face and know exactly who you are, because that matters. It helps me too when you guys ask questions here and then you ask me questions in Discord. I then can put it together. Boom, 6 + 6 = 39. I know who you are, and it makes sense. So we have a couple of charts pulled up here, one of which being Palantir. They posted earnings today. Let's actually pull up those earnings just so you guys can get an idea of what we're looking at here. Give me just 1 second. So here's what I think stands out the most from the Palantir earnings report. Number one, the $1 billion share buyback. That's huge news. And you got to, not to get too complicated, but there's diluted shares. They offer stock-based incentive pay. So it's a messy business trying to get in and understand all that. Here's what it means to us as traders, right? Investors, traders, whatever you want to call it. It means that over the next, they're typically done in 1-year contracts. Over the next year, if the start date is today, for example, hypothetically, right, they will be slowly buying back shares of their stock, which means demand will be artificially inflated for the time being. So in that case, if there were to be a big run like we've seen over the last couple of months, you could see some significant upside here. It also speaks to confidence in the company itself. If they are willing to get people to work for stock-based incentive pay, that means that people do believe the company has upside potential. So that being said, what can we expect going forward in the earnings? Well, if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow me in Discord, you already have this information. I posted a little bit earlier that we needed to see a few things happen. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, please make sure you do. I'm trying to do Twitter, even though I hate it, but it's good to do it. So we talked about a breakout over 1840. We could see 2175 over the next couple weeks. If we go under 1630, which we did for a minute, but then we pulled back up, we can see as low as $14.30. So right now, what do we have in the chart? We're going to pull this up full screen. We're going to dedicate our focus here. So we already have this line mapped out, 1843, this blue line right here. We dipped, but we ripped. We broke right back above. Now we need to hold a concentrated, we need to see some concentrated price action over this line. We need to see some significant volume, which today was a pickup, but we want to see something a little more because we did dip down almost to, well, no, just about 17 bucks today on decent volume in anticipation of the earnings. What we need to see going forward is we need to see price over 19 bucks. If we do that, then I think it's realistic that we do hit those targets I laid out for you, which is about $21 and change. We want to make sure that we are trading this efficiently, effectively. This stock in general has seen extreme bouts of volatility, which is important for you to know because that means that it can move in strong upswings and downswings because of that volatility, which means that we need to be careful when trading it because you don't want to get beat to death on a position, especially for those of you that are trading options. I know that a lot of people to trade options will lose a lot of money because they don't manage the positions properly, and most importantly, they don't seem to manage risk effectively, which is okay, and that's why we teach risk management very specifically for this exact reason. We don't want to see you get beat to death because of a couple bad positions. And if you refer back to that list in the Discord that I put out earlier, another one we will talk about in a few weeks is huge. Number 3, huge concentrated positions equal huge concentrated losses. Why is that? Well, when you're allocated that much, I actually rewrote another version that I put on Facebook. I tried to make it simpler, so easy a child could understand, because sometimes I need to read things and have better examples. But it talked about putting all your candy in one bag and the bag rips, you're screwed. Candy's gone. You lose it all. So why do it? You don't want to do it, and you won't. Those of you that trade with us already know all this, and you're probably not doing it. I hope. If you are, that's a problem. We need to discuss that, and we will. So again, what do we expect for Palantir earnings coming up? Well, we want to see how this price action plays out over the next couple of days. Remember, oftentimes you'll see earnings reflect weird price action. For example, they could have a huge beat on earnings, forward guidance is exceptional, and then the price dumps. Why is that? Well, some other information has come to light that has basically decreased investor sentiment. A lot of times people look for in those forward guidance statements is they look for revisions. So for example, if everybody knows that this company is probably not going to meet their numbers, what they want to actually see is them to revise their numbers down to show that they can plan appropriately and effectively. If they keep the numbers the same, even though the market thinks, well, they're never going to meet it, you're going to see downward price action even on what on the surface looks like a positive earnings report. Alternatively, if rumors are swirling that they might be signing a huge contract or demand might have risen and they're going to up their forward guidance. That's one of the best, single greatest things. Forward splits and upping forward guidance has really been kind of the catalyst of bull momentum over the last couple of years. You've seen it with Tesla, you've seen it with NVIDIA, you've seen it with a lot of these companies that have done the forward split, and you've also seen it with those that have revised their earnings to the upside. Coffee. So all that being said, I am still holding Palantir from our buy alert, which occurred right here at about $7.30. We are up over 150% here in this position. It's held up extremely well. Huge volatility. This has been a big win for us, and I'm going to continue holding. I've sold about a third of it when we were pushing up right about 16, 17 bucks, and I sold a little bit more when we hit 20. And I'm going to hold the rest of the position here intact, because I do think that we have some bigger opportunities here on the horizon, one of which being obviously testing that 2170s target that I laid out, and then secondly being this $26 target that I think could hit. Remember, when this IPO'd, as you can see if you follow the mouse right here, we boomed to about 45 bucks. Obviously, that isn't sustainable, and it didn't last, and we came down. Nevertheless, when you see these big volatile moves up through these areas, right, it just tells you that the price can move quickly through those areas again in the future if the market will justify it. And right now, the market's justifying upside here. So what we're going to do is wait for this to break, wait for this to hold 1840s. And then we want to see it open up strong and push 2173. Then once we close over that price and we see it hold, we want to aim for our next target, which is about 26 bucks. All that being said, the way we trade this, for those of you that are new or don't know us, or you're just getting to know us, I like to identify these horizontal levels here, right? This is a super simple way to trade. I'll make this a little bigger so you can see it. Here's what it allows you to do. It allows you to understand what your options are, both bear and bull, which is essential, right? God, I'm going to give away the whole list because those were just so good. Number 6, excuse me. Again, we're going to go in depth on each of these once a week, but number 6, just throw it out there because it's relevant. You don't know what will happen. Plan for that. What does that mean? I want to hear from you. Number 6, I wrote, you don't know what will happen. Plan for that. What does that mean? What does that mean in the context of trading with what we're looking at here? What does that mean? What does that mean to you guys? Let's see it in the chat. I'll type it out here so you can, those of you that aren't, maybe have your volume down, can read it. What does that mean in the context of trading? You don't know what will happen. Plan for that. Chris said, wait for confirmation. That is, yes. So that's a part of it. So you're not wrong. 100% you're not wrong. I was just looking for it. There we go. Have a plan for best and worst case scenario. Stephen Malfa for the win. What's up, Stephen? How you living, baby? TIGR, also not wrong. Stop loss essential, but this is mostly what I was looking for. Have a plan for best and worst case scenarios. So to go back to what I was just talking about, we outline these horizontal price levels, right? So that we can understand, okay, these are the ranges that this is going to trade through. Why are we doing that? Well, when we're above 1843, you can see right here, call this number 1. We know we have downside below 1840s, and we know we have upside up until 2170s, right? Then if we break above 2173, so just look at this. Is this going up, climbing above 2173? Why don't I just draw it? These are the questions we're all wondering. So we hold above 1843. We know that we might test there. We break above 2173 and hold. We know that we might test here. When we map price action out like this, and this is very simple. Everybody tries to make trading this big, complicated science. You know why? Because it's easier to sell you something if I convince you that I'm the only one that can do it. Well, here's a stark truth for you. I'm not the only one that can do this. However, I will say that the strategies that I use are incredibly effective, and I think I do teach them well, to give myself some credit. But this stuff is not as complicated as everyone tries to lead you to believe, to charge you $1,200 a month to follow their bullshit. The reason we're priced effectively and efficiently for everyone to afford is because, to me, this is a fundamental human right. Everyone should have access to this stuff. Everyone on earth should have access to this information. I'm just going to say that one more time on a bigger screen. Everyone on earth should have access to this information. There's no reason that anyone would not have the capability and the access to information to take advantage of the stock market. Why would anyone want that? More profitable if I keep you out of the party, right? That's at least what the rich want you to believe, but it's ridiculous. So you know what we're about. Financial literacy, access. Like, I just want everyone to win, because there's no situation in which you have to lose for me to win, or vice versa. I don't have to lose so that you can win. So going back to what we're saying here, the reason we also want to have these is because that way we're going to win either way. If we get our scenario number 1, right, that pushes up to 2173, that's a bull case, right? We win. Good trade. Looking at the flip side of that same equation, right? If we don't, let's look at the flip side of that. If we fail to hold 1840s, we know we're going to come back around 14, 15 bucks. So there's our bear trade, right? So if we fail this support hold at $18.40, so basically if this line can't stay above this line, then we know it's going to come down. So we can take a trade in that direction and make money. The point of this is no matter which way the stock goes, up or down, you have an opportunity to make money, and more importantly, a plan to do so. When you plan effectively with trading, you remove 99% of the variables, you guys. We will never control the pricing in the stock market. It's just not going to happen. What we can't control is how we react to it. When we do that, we have a plan for either scenario, either outcome of the two most likely outcomes, which means we are going to be prepared to profit whichever occurs. And that's why on this stream, I give you the bull and the bear. I want you to have the whole picture so that you can follow and say, okay, he was just talking about this. If we held over $18.40, he said we're more than likely to see upside than downside. Okay, so I start aiming for $21.73 on Palantir because you know the bull scenario stands as long as the price holds over $18.40. And you also know, should the price go below $18.40, the bear scenario stands, which means we're going to go back down to 14 bucks. So instead of, like I said, paying $2,000 a month to some dick to tell you some nonsense I'm going to tell you for free, you can then go buy $15 puts for 3 months out and make money all on your own, all by yourself, with a little bit of help from a friend. Nothing wrong with that. So we want to see this happen exactly as we just discussed. If you guys are new and you just joined, you missed it, just rewind the video or come back later and watch it because you don't want to miss what we're going to do next. But like I said, it's important. It's not important. You must. You have to see both sides. Anybody looking at something from a one-sided perspective is always going to be the idiot. You don't want to be the idiot because the ignorant get slaughtered in this market, right? What does it say? Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. Is that the phrase? I think that's the turn of phrase, but I'm not sure. Palantir is a great example, right? It has meme stock traction. It's actually a good company that produces reasonable cash flows. There's actually optimism of its growth over the next 10 to 20 years. They're in the data mining space, so like that's a no-brainer. They're going to make money. Data is everything. So it's a perfect storm for a retail audience to get absolutely slaughtered by not having a plan, not going into this with a disciplined approach, and most importantly, not having the right information in front of them to actually make a good decision. Like what we just mapped out, I just gave you the keys to the kingdom, baby. You have the bull situation, the bear situation, and now you know the neutral situation of it doesn't break above or below. So you know price is going to bounce between 18 and 21. That's a third strategy you now have from watching 1 hour of content on here, my hour. Because then you know every time you get an 1840s bounce, you could trade it back to 21. LABU, case in point, LABU. I'm going to pull that one up on the chart just to really highlight to you guys why it's so important to understand what I'm doing here with horizontal ranges. And this is why this is the repeat trade of the year. This is like, this thing is this was a cash machine for over an entire year that if you weren't taking advantage of, then you're looking in the wrong place, my friends. So this is the range we identified, right? Look at how many times, let's go to a daily time frame. Look at how many times, let's just count them. Why not? We're going to count how many times you could have traded this range between about $6.10 and $7.50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, close, we won't count it, 15, 16, 17, no, that'd be 17, 18, 19, 20. So if you go back on this chart to June of 22, let's go just within a year. If you go within August of 22, in 1 year's time, you had 21 trades on this stock for $1.50 a piece. So that means if you were trading, let's do some simple math here. If you were trading 100 shares at a time for $1.50 profit and you did it 20 times, how much would you have? You're trading this stock, right? This repeat trade over and over, bing, 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 bing. $1.50 profit a share times 100 because you bought 100 shares and you did that 20 times. What'd you make? because you made roughly 150 bucks a trade times 20 trades. Am I wrong to say it's what, around 3 grand, give or take? So that's a trade you could have set on autopilot. Buy here, sell here. You could have set the limit orders over and over and not even had to pay attention or watch using this strategy that I've laid out for you. 20 automatic trades that required little to no effort that could have made you with just a small 100 share purchase, right? So if you were trading with $600 roughly, you could have made $3,000 auto trading this, right? You still have to set the orders, but how simple is that? Buy here, sell here. Here's my stop loss. It takes 5 minutes. So imagine you did that 20 times, 5 minutes a piece. You spent 100 minutes to make $3,000. Now let's see what that's worth. So if you took $3,000 divided by 100 minutes, let's see how much you're worth a minute. So you're worth $30 a minute, and they're 60 in an hour. So you're making $180 an hour using one strategy, trading with less than $1,000 startup capital. So to put that in a frame of reference for you, you have less than $1,000 and you have less than 2 hours of time to give over an entire year. How do you make $180 an hour in the stock market with less than $1,000 to start with? So your account's smaller than $1,000, right? And you don't have more than 2 hours to give that entire year. Here's how. You take this strategy I've laid out for you. You take the simple range trade, the 20 times it bounced up and down with automatic bracket orders, right? Buy here, sell here, stop loss here, which automatically execute for you, by the way. You would have made $180 an hour. So you would have made $3,000 over the last year on just this one trade, which you took 20 times because it was a gimme. It was a no-brainer. Here's the best part, too. If you go a little deeper in this chart, which we're not going to go too deep, there's a few times where you bought it at the bottom, right, the bottom of range, and it ran to $9. So this one instance, you made $300 on just the one trade. So some of these trades made even more than just the $150 profit you were making. And the beauty of it is had you been stacking that profit, you could have bought an additional 20, 30 shares each time. So on a compounding basis, this one trade idea could have made you upwards of $10,000 if you compound it. Basically, if you bought more shares each time you made more money. This is a $10,000 trade in 1 year with less than $600 in your account. Well, less than $700 in your account, you could have started it. So when I hear people say, I can't do this, I don't have enough starting capital, and then I see they started with 10 grand, it blows my mind because I just rolled out and highlighted for you how you would have done it with 600, which is 1/10. That's less than 1/10 of the initial 10K starting cost. So it brings me, I realize I was talking, a big shout out to my boy Mike here, Mr. Mike Porter. He's been a big help with the stream and just Pennybois in general, and mostly for me personally, because I've been getting his feedback on a lot of this stuff with the streams. I've been getting his insight on what he thinks you guys really want and need, just because was a member, right? So he has the best perspective. And one thing we've dialed in on that's been missing, which I owe you a little apology for, is like the lack of coaching. So I coach my kids' Pop Warner team, and it's like one of my favorite things that I've ever done because I love coaching. I tell myself I don't love teaching because I don't feel I explain things in the right way sometimes. But damn it if I don't love coaching. And so I thought to myself while I'm at practice after Mike and I had a conversation, like, whoa, what's the difference between what I'm doing at Pennybois and here? Other than obviously in person, and they're 12 years old, and I can yell at them more. There isn't one. There's no difference. So that's what I'm going to be doing for you guys. You guys need a little more coach in your life, and you haven't been getting it, and that's on me. And that changes now, because it's also, I'm not going to lie, it's giving me a very strong, renewed interest in this stream and everything else, because it's like, oh my God, I was looking at this from the wrong perspective. And we're talking about perspective earlier with only having one side of the trade within your side of vision. It's the same thing with life. That's the point, guys, is that you look at anything with one eye open you're going to miss half the picture. And when you don't have all the information, you can't make an informed decision. You can't make the decision that's going to set you up to pay for your kids' college. You can't make the decision that's going to relieve some of the stress or pressure you feel because, your friend, your wife, your husband, your kids had a medical emergency that you had to come out of pocket for, and now you're stressed at your job because you don't make enough to cover it. You don't have to deal with that any longer. You have to deal with that feeling of not being enough. You don't have to deal with the anxiety of feeling like there's nothing you can do. You are not powerless. Over some things we are. But right here in this little bubble that we live in, we're not powerless. Can't control the market, but we sure as hell can control what we do with what the market gives us. And that's what made Pennybois so special and effective and made a lot of you a lot of money and some of you didn't, right? Because it just never clicked. You didn't have the time, whatever the reason, whatever the season, baby. It is what it is. If you're still here, then you're going to make it. It's just a matter of when. And it's just a matter of using your mouth to speak, to say, I don't understand. I need more help. What do you mean by this? So that we can get you the outcome that you deserve, that you earned. So these range trades are one of the greatest things that we could ever do because it's a simple, replicable pattern that we can use over and over on any stock, in any industry. It does not matter. You can use this to trade options. You can use this to trade equities. You can use this to day trade. You can use this anywhere because this is just gathering the basic fundamentals of price action to really understand what the hell is the point of what we're doing here, because it's simpler than it seems. And yeah, that's that. Derek said I can handle getting yelled at for hell yeah. Well, I'm here to do it, man. I'm here to do it. I do it with the kids. They give me those excuses. I can't. There's one kid, the only thing he's allowed to say at practice is I can. Yes, I can. Because the kid has just so much self-doubt. He doesn't believe in himself, and he needs to learn. So sometimes it's hardcore conditioning and hardcore conditioning of the mind and body will get you there. Mr. Jimmy, I told him I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth other than yes, I can. Because in truth, he never gives himself a shot. And I think that the same is true for trading a lot of people, money in general. They tell themselves the story that they're bad at managing money or they always fuck it up. So guess what they always do? They shit the bed. They lose the money. They gamble the money. They do whatever. They make a risky, terrible decision that they didn't want to make because they felt they had no other choice. When that fear guides you, you'll never arrive where you want to go. The things that you magnify in your life are the things that will always persist. So when you magnify failures, when you magnify shortcomings, when you magnify poor decisions and loneliness and anguish, you will have more of it because it's where your focus is. So there you go. Range trading is so easy if you let it be. And that's why I love this strategy, because that's all you're doing. There's two scenarios. I buy it or I sell it. That's it and that's all. Simple formula. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. I would bet my life on it. And this might be a fun content idea. I guarantee you I can get a 10-year-old to execute this strategy effectively. Now getting them to do it is a different story. But like my kid who's 11, turned 12, I guarantee you if I just told them, hey, you only buy it when it's at 612 and you sell it every time it hits 740, he would be able to do that over and over and over and over. So you have no excuse. So let's see it. So yeah. Let's get back to the charts. Let's make these a little bigger so you can see it. So we talked about Palantir. We talked about this range trading through LABU. We're going to scoot right back to Palantir real quick just to see where we're headed up, given the post-earnings price action, just to see if we're holding up here. So we're really trying 1840s to push as high as 1863. That's good. Buying was huge after hours, and it looks like buyers came in here and picked us up at about 17 bucks. I will say this, bottom dollar, end of the road, if we can hold above 16, I think Palantir has a lot of strength, and that's going to reinforce in the mind of the market that this is a strong company with strong support, strong leadership, and obviously strong cash balance. I think it will reiterate that they have a lot of potential for growth and that the incentive here is to support, that the support of the share buyback, strong cash position is going to incentivize the market to buy more. So I think that is something to think of when you look at the stock. To go to the SPY, just to dive into it, we talked a little bit about it in the Discord. I'm going to put a link, by the way, at the bottom for just a minute. For those of you that aren't in the Discord yet, there's tons of free trading education. There's free trades, free trade alerts, and most importantly, you're a part of a 40,000 member community that actually cares whether you sink or swim. So if you feel like you're out alone in the ocean, this is the one place you can join where people are going to give a shit and help you succeed. If you haven't succeeded yet in trading, it's because you haven't found the right home, the right tribe, which is all you need to really make this happen. The right tribe makes a difference. So we've mapped out the SPY here as we talked about in Discord. Remember, we talked about this 446 being an integral point for the S&P to come down to, and that was going to be our strong test of buyer support. What we wanted to see was a full test, which we got. That's good. Now we want to see it fill back up and test this range 451 and change. We've got our 200-day moving average right here, EMA, exponential moving average. We were rejected at that yesterday. What we need to see into tomorrow is we need to see it above this 451.77. Then we have opportunity to go back into consolidation and then upside. Remember, we talked about that Q2 of this year is going to be pretty brutal. Q3 will brighten a little bit. And then I think Q4, we have a strong runway to rip into the fourth quarter, end of year. And I think that's what we're setting up to do right now. The support bounce here was a pretty important part. You see buying come in, looking at the volume bars here. You can see strong buying coming in. RSI picked back up. We're just close to pushing a new high. We love when we see this RSI coiling and matching the price action, given that it's in the right range, which it is. We don't want to see RSI come down to 30 or less. And we don't want to see this volume diminish to anything less than, we want all these bars to be touching at least 7 to 10 million, right? So we're a little low on some, but we had a few big buys, some big sells here, and a huge buy back on the second that really kind of solidified the position through this range. So here's how we're going to trade it. If we open strong tomorrow, this is going to be our first scenario. If we open strong tomorrow on the S&P and we're trading above 451.77, we're going to look to trade to 452, 453, right? So if we saw, that's right where we sold off back on the second, and that was our 200-day EMA break. So I think that would be a realistic range to go through. But here's the one thing you need to watch first. We're going to see resistance at about 452 and change. So the reason I say 453 is because if we open, you buy those and we rip, you're going to make money no matter what. If we open, it starts to rip and gets rejected, you're either going to be neutral or slightly green, which means you can get out with a profit or get out with all the money you started with. Also important. If we break above 452 and change, about 452.80, give or take the high from yesterday, then I think it's very realistic we see 453 to 454. We really, really want to see some strength there. And if we do, then I think tomorrow is going to be a day for the bulls, given that I believe we had 4 consecutive red days on the S&P, today being the first of which was not. So that's going to be our 2 scenarios we're going to watch for. If we get rejected at 451.77, then we're going to look at the 448 puts. If we continue downside, we're going to go to 446. If we keep going from there, I think realistically 443 is on the table. What we don't want to see is 430s. We do not want to see that. So that's my plan for the S&P. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I want you to start filtering some tickers in the chat. Start dropping the tickers you want to look at in the chat. We're going to be charting them out for you here in just a minute. I just want to kind of tell you in advance so you can get them out there and get them going. Any chart you want to see, drop it in the chat. We'll be looking through quite a few of them, especially those that you're in trades with or they're just positions you want to take. Make sure you drop those in the chat now because we're going to recap a few trades that we have open right now, and then I'm going to get right into those charts. So drop those tickers in the chat. Drop those in the chat. Yeah. Sorry, let me just post this here. We're going to look through these trades. And don't worry if they're open trades that I've put out in the Discord. I'm going to be covering the majority of those, but still feel free to drop the ticker in the chat just to make sure that it doesn't get lost in the mix and left behind. I do not want that. Why is that happening? That shouldn't be. All right. Sorry, I just had to post that on up there. Okay. I would love to challenge Pookie in that way because I do type psychotically fast. This stupid mic stand. 1 second. 6th grade, Mrs. Forrest, typing class. The lady was crazy, dude. She was really intense. She's really mean too, but a mean lady now and again. Sometimes it gets me motivated. So I got to credit her. Shout out if for any reason she's like 80 something and she's watching this, which would be fantastic. Shout out to her. No, was it Mrs. Vasich? Yeah, that was her name, Vasich or Vassar or something like that. Anyway, lady, if you're out there, 6th grade typing, you were awful to me. But damn if I don't type fast. So thanks. So we're going to start diving into some of these charts that you want to see. If you guys have a specific trade idea in mind, list that out too. Like, hey, I want to look, for example, Moye to United Airlines. Hey, I'm bullish on United Airlines. What do you think? That way I can give you a more honest opinion and hopefully save you some grief and that it's not too generic. So United Airlines is very interesting. I do have an open position on this trade. I'm currently trading some 2025 calls. I posted those in the Discord. If you don't have access, you need to get in there. I'm going to post the link in here. There's free alerts, free trading education, plus the best community on earth that actually wants to see you succeed. If you're not in there, you're missing everything under the sun. But looking at the United Airlines chart, you can see that's been choppy, but trying to consolidate between $52 and $58. That's a good sign. Volume has picked up a little bit. It's nothing like what it was back during COVID times, but it is substantial enough. You got some huge buying that came in on the 20th of July as we pushed to a high of 58.23. So here's the trend line. Anytime you look at a chart, you want to know where's the trend line and what should I be looking at? Well, you should be always looking at that trend line to understand how far can it come down from where it is now, and when it does, is it going to hold up? So this one right here did find a new high recently, which is a good sign. Remember, any uptrend, we want to see a higher low and then a higher high and then a higher low and then a higher high. You have to see those things or you don't know if the uptrend is going to continue. Very strong day today, pushing up just below that 8-day moving average. The interesting part is this is the 200-day EMA, right? We're looking at the hourly chart. Each of these blocks is an hour. Each of these bars is an hour. Huge momentum today, decent volume, pushed above and closed above that 200-day EMA on the hourly, which is a good signal of trend reversal here after having like a week of continuous downside. Again, this is a long-term position. We're looking at the weekly chart here. This is the one I'm focused on for the trade. This is the one I see the upside in because we fell off a cliff from 75 bucks, which left this huge gap right here. So this gap is what I anticipate will fill, right? We came all the way down to 17 bucks. We fell from 75. We've consolidated in this area for a long time, and we've moved through this gap twice. So this is something that's really cool to do when you look at these charts. The price moved really fast through here, then it moved really fast through here, and then it moved really fast through here. That's the same price area, right? Which means it can do what now? Yes, correct. The answer is move really fast through there. I would argue to about 60, 68 bucks. That was our target. So this is still in play. This play is still very green. It's already been up 150% twice. It's still up about 70% now. So if you missed it, you missed it. Move on to the next one. All right, we got a lot of tickers. If there are any other tickers, drop them in the chat. I see a few of you posted too. I just want to make sure you guys get them all in here before we're done. There's almost 30 of you, so I should see 30 different tickers. I don't care. You have one I know you're thinking about. I know you're watching in the back of your head. I want to make sure that you get it out here because this is your chance to get an answer to the question you have, and this is your chance to make money. So do not be too shy to ask a question to someone who's telling you to ask questions. So I'm going to pick 3 of these, and then we're going to go into some smash or pass. I'm going to pick the ones that I think are interesting to look at. Derek, what's up, baby? See you again. PayPal, very interesting chart. I was just looking at this earlier. It's starting to finally see a small breath of life. It's a whimper, but it's there. The buying today to me signified that this gap down will hopefully be the beginning of the end of downside for this one. Sorry, the way I modeled that phrasing, it sounded really bad. So you can see very clearly here that buyers have stepped in at this level a few times, right? They stepped in here, they tried to step in here, and we've never even been this low in the last year or so to even test whether or not we're going to find support there. So sellers pushed down, but buyers came back with cause. We see strong buying back in middle of June from this area. I'm hoping we see the same thing again. But as always, I've said this for the last 3 or 4 months, PayPal needs to get over 69 bucks. After it does, it has to be trading consistently above 75, 80 bucks. I would say 80 to be safe. When it's consistently trading above 80 bucks, here's what you have to look forward to. $113 a share. That would be my estimate. We'll see 100 to 110 price per share. We have this gap on every larger time frame chart, which means that we can absolutely push there. And here's the even better part. Granted, this was COVID, so be very careful in looking at past charts on these names. We saw unbelievable demand on relatively low volume compared to how we have been, from 90 bucks all the way to 200 bucks. So it stands to reason that it's, again, moved so quickly through this area that we could see the same thing again, but to the upside from where we are trading right now. However, it needs to trade above 769, and then it needs to trade above 80 bucks. And then I would say this thing's in play to go long. Otherwise, I would be very careful on this one. We're going to look at Robinhood. Robinhood's having a bit of a rough week, but holding up respectably so. You can see here on the monthly chart, we're holding just above that 8-day moving average. We have upside to about 17, which is what we're expecting. We have those long-term options plays active right now. They've already been up 100%. I know a lot of you have locked in profit. We'll be looking to update those if we come down to 11 bucks. 10.50s, and or if we can push back up above 12. That's really what I'm looking for here. As you can see in the past, we've really traded in with a lot of volatility in this area from 10.22 to about 11.30s, and I don't expect anything different here. We have pushed to a new high. We still have trend support here. If we draw this out a little bit, which is a positive indicator for the long-term success of this trade, we should see continuation of the upside. I think we just came up a bit too much over the past couple of weeks, and we need to see this thing breathe a little bit. This one, remember, went as high as about 85 bucks, and same thing, has never traded there since. which tells me that we have immense upside. Once we break 16, we aim for 19, and then we aim for 23. We should double. We've been buying this stock. Since it was in this range, right? This is another trade you have taken 10, 15 times following that range trading strategy I laid out for you. We were buying this off the trend line, anywhere from, I think we were buying it like 850 all the way to 9. I know Lee was buying some at 780s there. So almost 100% on equities. Still holding this right now. I do think it's still worth holding, and still holding the options trade because I also think that's worth holding. So that's that chart. Now we're going to get into a little smash or pass. We're going to look very quickly at these tickers that you put in the chat, and I'm going to give you a smash or a pass. It's a smash if it's ready to go long, it's ready to rock, and it looks good. It's a pass if it does not, meaning we are looking at long bias only. We're not looking at short trades here. We're only looking at taking things long. Start out Chris Franklin, HLLY. It's like Holly. I don't even know what this is. Very interesting. Whoa, hey there, Daddy-O. No idea what this company does. Does anybody know? Very interesting chart. Nice little bottom scoop. So if this does cup and handle and round off, I could see it pop into 770s, trailing off, and then maybe seeing a move up. Let's go back to the daily chart. It does have some room here. So very similar to what we're talking about with United Airlines. This thing fell off from 1137, came as low as 820s, back up to 1266, and then gap down, which means we could fill the gap to about 820, I would say here, and then maybe fill this one to about mid nines. Looks like this was an IPO, held up pretty well, and then sank to oblivion down to $1.88. I don't know anything about this company. If anybody knows what they do, that's always an important factor here. But just looking at the chart, I'd say that if this holds up on the weekly, so if this stays green, so right now it's looking like it's going to come down. But if this can stay above 640, I'd say you can go long 760. If it breaks above that 200-day right there, I'd say above 770, then you could definitely ride this thing to $10. So I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one a little taste. I'm gonna give it a partial smash. I'm gonna give it a partial smash. Smart as a little tongue. Means we're not committed. We're not loving it. We're not kissing. We're kissing a little bit, but we're not committed, right? We're just hanging out on occasion. There's potential, but right now the RSI is quite overbought, which means, and this is on the weekly chart, right? So being that RSI is already at 80, we're probably due to push to 760, and then we're going to see this come back down probably to mid fives. So be very careful with that one. That's HLLY. It's getting a partial smash. Not something I'd take right now, but it's I got to be honest, it's not terrible. Let's look at Let's look at Boeing Airlines, BA. Oh baby, TIGR found a golden opportunity. Wow, that's the monthly chart. Why did I miss this? I feel like an idiot. I didn't miss it. Remember we were talking. Damn it. Well, that's the mistake that I made. Remember we were talking this on the weekly that if it held 197, it was golden, and then I just didn't buy it or do anything, and I just totally missed out. Well, that happened. I'm going to give this one a heavy smash. This is Boeing Airlines. It's getting full smash, full swipe. This is a very interesting chart. I might have to look up some trades on this. I love you. This one looks fantastic. If we go to the monthly chart, it's even more optimistic. So trading above all moving averages, held at the 200-day. We have long-term price support to justify this. I mean, they're plugged into the U.S. economy. They're plugged into the global economy. So I would argue that the business is there. This is trading up to $400, trading at about half of that. And the beauty of it is it was trading that high even pre-COVID, absolutely sank, ran again, came back down. But we can see that this range, about 112, typically goes to about 279. So I think there's still upside here. That's going to be the first real test is 279, 280. If it can break there, then I'd say top of this range right here where it traded for quite a while at 350. There's like $100 a share on the table here. So that one's going to get a tasty smash there. Very, very interesting. Good find, my friend. Oh, let's look at this. This one was such a good buy the other day, and then it absolutely cratered. I haven't put the trade out on it yet just because I'm a little nervous looking at this chart, and also anything biotech is a little dicey right now. But we do have trend support We do have trend support failure, which is not great. However, we do have bottom of range support here. We've been buying off this area for quite a while, which means that we could probably come down to 1560s, at which point it would be probably not a terrible buy, with a rather luxurious stop loss in place, if you know what I mean, because this one has seen some crazy volatility and you don't want to get your stop cleaned out and your clock cleaned and then see it absolutely rip from there. So what I'd like to see here is a little more volume. RSI is okay. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I want to see a little more volume, and then I want to see a close over 17 bucks. At which point, then this is a strong buy. Let's trade it to 21. We can make some easy money there. It's $4 a share, which would be, a pretty sizable 25% return, which I would take any day of the week on an equities trade. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one. What is this? This path. This is a pass for now. So for pass for now, but you're hot, so let's stay in touch. We're gonna do some light texting, maybe some little updates. Maybe you follow me on Instagram. I don't know. We're not committing. We're not spending time together, but we are keeping in touch because this one does have some potential and there is opportunity here, and we don't want to miss it. So that is that. Is this Playboy? Tell me. Playboy group. Ooh. Oh my God. Look at that. That's brutal. Up to 63 bucks for a nudie magazine masquerading as a media company. Can't imagine they have great data, which would be their only saving grace as a media company. This one, I'm going to just tell you right now, not even giving it a second look, pass harder than ever before. We're just giving this one a no thanks. Delete the app. Just delete Tinder if you find this as a match, because you don't want to be in that. You don't want to be playing this game. Pump and dump. I don't think there's really any value in the company. The chart looks absolutely abysmal. We're going to walk away and pretend we never looked at it. Let's keep looking, Chris Franklin. You got to pick one, Chris Franklin. Pick one. You want to do UPS, NVGS, or EGRX? You pick one. Actually, I'm going to pick for you UPS because that's probably interesting. And I know we have earnings on the horizon here. Wow, this chart actually looks exceptional. Who would have thought UPS would hold up this well? So this is a monthly chart, which means we're right at support. We've been consolidating here pretty well. I really, really, really like this. Let's find where the buyers start to get exhausted. Now let's find where the sellers are going to draw their line. So buyers have been picking up there. Buyers have been dying there. It's where sellers join the party. This is where buyers join the party and sellers leave. So what we need to figure out is how much longer will it take for this? This is a potential breakout here. I didn't know UPS was seeing this kind of growth. So watch this trend line here. This is where we need to see a breakout happen. Once it did, I would say that this one has a lot of potential. We talked about a blue sky breakout with NVIDIA, meaning there is no price action up here to gauge. So this thing could go realistically pretty nuclear if it does get the right news, the right pressure, and the right press. Buying was very strong back in 2020. Buying was strong back in the 31st of March. Strong buying in June, strong buying in July. So that could bode well here. I don't know what the analyst price targets are, but I would take a look at those first. I'm going to give UPS, just getting a plain old smash because it just looks delightful. It does need to see a breakout here, but it is very interesting. This is a great chart. Thanks for bringing this up, Chris. That's my guy. Let's talk about this in Discord. This one might be worth generating a trade idea over because I really like this chart. Keeping going through it. Oh, Nikki has one, of course. Yes, ma'am. I'd love to oblige. TIGR. This one is interesting. I know this company. I know some stuffs about this company. It's interesting. And I know it's also very low float that has seen explosive growth. You have like the world's largest head and shoulders here. So that's the monthly. Let's look at the week. Ooh. This one. This might be our small cap stock pick of the week. Yeah, above 392, this thing looks pretty crisp. Above 392, I think there's target 5 and then 540. This one's interesting. Nikki, where did this come from? This is interesting. Where did this come from? I'm gonna have to go ahead and say it. This is a summer Smashtacular. I think that there's actually tons of opportunity here on the small cap side. Let me go look at the float here because I think that this is also very low float. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, not as low as I thought. It's like 70 to 100 million. I'm getting a few different estimates. 5% short, which is like pretty run of the mill. This could be a very interesting chart here and looking through what's happened in the past. So so we weren't even looking at this part of the chart, right? When we mapped out this just one horizontal line. Again, we keep it very simple here. This one horizontal line, we map this out just to see kind of where's our support and resistance going to function. Where's our pivot point, right? Where support becomes resistance or resistance becomes support. We found it. Buyers pick it up here. Sellers push it down from here. It's about 392. Then we scroll back to see that back in 2020, this was also a very important pivotal line on the chart for the stock, that it was following the same basically trading pattern here, that this was a pivotal buy or sell point. That when it broke over, it typically ran to $6-7. When it broke under, it typically came down to $2, which you've seen that do twice. So I'd say that if it can stay above 392, this one would be probably a great swing to $5. And then if it keeps going, I'd say you could see 6+. So I think this is a very interesting one that I'm really glad you brought up. And oh, there you go, Miss Nikki. You got a volume profile. You got a little bit of volume coming in there. Not as good as what we saw back in March, but it is picking up here. You've seen a little bit of upward movement. Did not test a new low. $2 here, $2.30 here. And it does look like hopefully the head and shoulders is closed out, this being the right shoulder. So this one's interesting, and this very well could see a little popsky pop there. RSI is nice, red at 60. We're on the weekly chart. Looking at the monthly, I would say it's even better. RSI is at 44, so still a little bit oversold after going to high 73 when it moved to 38. So this one definitely has some potential. Good find. Good find. Josh Johnson, what's up, baby? Let's look at DWAC. Donald Trump's World Incorporated. Ugh, rid of these. Oh, more. Hold on. I gotta get rid of this. There we go. So that's a monthly. This is the weekly. This thing is the pump and dump supreme. So just be very careful. I'm going to tell you right now, this is one I would probably stay away from. Chart does not look good. It looks like it's ready to create a bag holder army, and that's not something I want for any of you. So for right now, I'm going to give this one a hard pass. Just first look, I can tell you right off the bat, doesn't look good, doesn't look nice, doesn't look friendly. But what you can do is you can watch the pumps, 15, 20s to $17. Seems to have done that a few times. It's not a ton of profit to scratch out, but if you're a skilled day trader and you know what you're doing, I'd say that you can make some money there. I would stay away from this though, because you're more likely to lose than win, and honestly, the profit potential isn't that great. Let's look at here. Rich Sinks. I'm looking on the weekly and monthly. Great Veterinarian Company. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah. This is also pump and dump supreme. I would definitely stay away. If you look at this chart, look at that. And this is, I'm assuming they had a reverse split because these prices look crazy. I'm not certain though. RSI is picking up here. I mean, there might be some to squeeze here. It will not be a squeeze. I'm saying there might be something to squeeze off the bone here, meaning you might be able to scrape a few dollars profit here. If it can break above 21, 25, 27, max, I'd say is 37 cents. Be very aware of, I'm giving this one a pass, but it could make you some money. Look for compliance date. Before you trade this one, buy this one, hold this one, look for the compliance date for a reverse split. If you get caught in a reverse split, you will lose 90% of your money, guaranteed. Because the companies that do reverse splits like this just do that to save their own ass. They don't care about you. It's just to keep their share price above $1. and make you foot the bill for it. So do not get stuck holding this. Find out when their compliance date is and know that there will probably be a pump on the run up to that day, but then after it will dump and it will be done and dead and you will lose everything. So do not do that. Row Exotic, Masauce. I don't know what this one is, but we're going to take a look. Oh, this is a cannabis ETF. I'm going to tell you right now, based on this one, pass. My thoughts on cannabis are this. My thoughts on oh, I had a better one for that. It just said pass the doobie. But my thoughts on that are this. I would rather take lottos on some of the quote more reputable cannabis companies like Tilray, even though it's hard to argue that any of them are really that reputable, and just have that exposure to marijuana. With where it is right now, I'll take some lottos. I'll risk $200-300 to make 10,000 if it does boom. But right now, I just don't see that much upside for the industry. And this chart looks brutal, so that's one I would stay away from. It's getting hot up in here, man. Let's see. Cheech's World, CVX. Let's take a little peek, Skipo here. Chevron, interesting. Ooh, that's a hell of a chart too. So oil prices gas prices are bumping, which means price of oil is going to be rising here. Energy does look like it's getting some rotation here in terms of money flow. I do actually like this chart here. This is the daily. There's definitely could be some upside here. The weekly chart also not bad. Not as good as the daily, but not bad. So currently trading above moving averages, which is great. We don't want to see a 200-day support test. If this can stay above mid 150s, I think that there's definitely something to do here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one. I'm gonna give this one a smash, kinda. Oops. Yeah, because this one isn't. It isn't prime time, but it definitely doesn't look bad. And with the landscape of oil right now, you get an SRR side bounce with the oil prices coming up, gas prices coming up. I think there actually might be some opportunity here. So that's that. 5:04. Like I said, we're going to keep this to an hour. I want it to be jam-packed with information. We're going to lead in with some of the more honest stuff that you guys need to hear. I'm going to bring a little more of that coach back to make sure that you guys are making money and making money the right way because I care about you and I want to see you succeed. Then we're going to get into the charts. We're going to look at a couple we're following, and then we're going to always play smash or pass so that you guys know exactly what's going on with the charts that you want to see. So with that being said, I love y'all. Stay blessed now.